If you're in leadership right now and your people are not showing up consistently to what it is you're asking them to do, there's a pretty good chance it's because you're not showing up consistently. My name's Kate Simon, and I have been coaching and training CEOs, executives, and leaders around the country since 2013. The reality is there's not exactly a secret formula or a switch that you can automatically flip to become more consistent. I think that consistency is ultimately a byproduct of a couple different things, and one of the primary things that we need to be focused on here if we want to develop more consistency is passion towards the bigger picture and passion towards the goal, right? Like if you're excited to get out of bed every day and you're excited about the vision of what you're working on, people usually don't have to check on you whether you hit snooze or whether you're showing up to the office that given day. And so really, if you're having a hard time showing up consistently, as a coach, one of the first places that I look is your alignment with your personal vision and your alignment with how you're showing up to that vision. If that's not intact, or if you're not connecting with that vision, and if you're not connecting with the purpose of what you're doing and why you're doing it every day, it's going to be harder to maintain that motivation and maintain that high degree of personal, motivation on a daily basis. So it's important, by the way, to really, before you're trying to become more consistent in a given thing, really ask yourself, like, is this what I'm passionate about? Is this what I want to do? And then, another point here, I would say one of the first points here on developing consistency is understand that there are going to be days, weeks, moments that you absolutely don't feel like doing it, right? And so we talk a lot in our coaching about the difference between motivation, which is being excited to do something, and then discipline, which is you're not excited to do something, but you understand you need to do it in order to hit the goals that you have. And it's important in leadership to understand the difference in both, and that you're going to feel both on a regular basis as you're going forward towards your goals. Now, of course, there's ways that we can improve our discipline, and there's ways that we can improve our motivation, but we'll save that for a future video. So make sure that you like and subscribe so you don't miss that video. So it's really important that you're, first of all, aligned with what it is that you're doing. Now, let's go ahead and assume that all of you watching this video, you absolutely love what you're working on. But again, you're here because you need to learn about consistency. So when our leaders in our world are struggling with consistency and struggling with showing up and doing what they know they need to do day in and day out, the first place that we start is always find an accountability partner. Now, I've been doing this long enough where I know that people always want their accountability partner to be their buddy. They want it to be the person that they can text, that they can kind of vent to, that's going to give them company in their own misery. And my first rule of accountability here is that it cannot be a friend. It cannot be somebody that you can run into their office and tell all the reasons why you didn't do your job that day. In fact, your accountability partner should hit a couple criteria. Your accountability partner should be somebody who is actively doing on a regular basis what it is you're trying to do. So if you're trying to get to the gym on a daily basis, your accountability partner needs to be somebody who is religious about going to the gym every day. It can't be your friend who's also trying to go to the gym every day, because what's ultimately going to happen is you're going to have an excuse, they're going to let you off the hook, they're going to have an excuse, you're going to let them off the hook. And that is not a recipe for success with an accountability partner. So your accountability partner needs to already be doing at a high level the thing that you're striving to do on a daily basis. The second thing your accountability partner needs is they need to scare you a little bit. Now, I don't mean like they're going to beat you up if you don't do your job, although I'm sure that would be effective to some degree. What I'm really meaning here is that you revere them, you respect them, you don't want to let them down. This is somebody who impresses you in this area, so you have to try to actually meet their energy where it's at. I talk about this all the time, but one of my good friends, his name is Paulie Dominich. He is actually a national black belt jiu-jitsu fighter. I'm not in the fighting scene, so I don't exactly know what that means, but I know that if you know Brazilian jiu-jitsu, he is a black belt down in Destin, Florida, and this guy is he puts the intense in intense. And so postpartum, when I was getting back into my gym routine, I knew that there was probably only one person that could hold me accountable effectively, and it was this guy right here. And so every single morning, When my alarm went off at 5:30 in the morning, I did not want to get out of bed. I had, a baby who was waking up multiple times at night. And ultimately, when I sent him that check-in text, I knew that I had to rise to the occasion to be his accountability partner. This person wasn't begging me to show up. This person didn't really care if I showed up or not, but it was somebody that I cared to raise to the standard of so that I could become a better version of myself. So when you're looking for an accountability partner, it has to be somebody who is doing the thing at a higher level that will help raise your personal standards of success. So when we're looking at how do we develop more consistency, bringing it back to the initial point, which is ultimately find an accountability partner and work with that accountability partner on the habit that you need more consistency on. So the second point here on developing more consistency is make peace with the fact that it's actually going to be boring. One of the points we talk about all the time is that if it's boring, if you're starting to get sick of it, if you're starting to wonder if it's working, you're probably doing the right thing, right? Like, we're in an industry and we're in a time where information is accessible just as quickly as you found this video. But the reality is, it's also made us mentally lazy. It's made us think that if we just watch another video, if we just go to another seminar, if we just read another book, we'll find the answer that nobody's told us before, which is ultimately that success is incredibly boring, okay? Take the most impressive athlete, out there. We'll call it Simone Biles, Michael Phelps, whoever it is that you look to as an athlete, okay? And you have to ask yourself, you see them performing at the Olympics, or you see them performing at the Super Bowl, you see them at their best, but what you don't see is the hundreds upon thousands of hours of mastery. You don't see how many different times Michael Phelps adjusted jumping into the pool. You don't see how many times Simone Biles fell off the balance beam. You don't see how many times, our quarterback, Jared Goff, threw that ball before it ended up in the end zone for the winning touchdown. Like, you don't see that work, but you have to understand that you've got to go through your own process of 10,000 hours. You've got to go through your own process of mastery before you get to be the one throwing the football that makes the game-winning touchdown. So ask yourself, how much are you willing to roll your sleeves up and do the work that nobody's going to see, and get really comfortable with the fact that it's going to be boring. There's going to be days that you don't feel like it. There's going to be moments that it sucks and that you have to do it anyway. But that is where excellence is made. So point number 2 is that make peace with the fact that it's going to get boring. And here's what I can tell you. There's good news in this. If you're bored of what you're doing on a regular basis, you are that much closer to mastery. And let me just share this one point. The more you're willing to sit in the discomfort of boredom, the higher likelihood and the higher chance you have of reaching the success that you want to reach. Because guess what? 99% of people won't make it to that point. So if you can make it to the point of sitting with being boring, you're ahead of 99% of people out there. So keep going. So point number 3, and this is a very important one. It doesn't matter whether you're an athlete looking to run your first race. It doesn't matter whether you're trying to sell 100 houses a year. It doesn't matter whether you're trying to scale a multi-billion-dollar company, okay? But if you can get comfortable with this third point I'm gonna share with you, your entire life is going to change, okay? This third point right here is that you have to get obsessed with the journey and forget about the results. Get obsessed with the journey and forget about the results, okay? Now that sounds counterintuitive because ultimately, Kate, we want consistency because we want the results on the other end of that. But if you talk to any of the high executives out there, the CEOs, the people who are achieving the most, what they're gonna tell you is on the other side of that trophy, on the other side of achievement, there's actually disappointment. There's actually, what was all of this for? And if you talk to a lot of the top people out there, whether it's an athlete, whether it's a CEO, executive, whatever the case may be, they will tell you that they actually got more enjoyment out of mastery in the journey than they actually got from the results of that mastery. We have to get comfortable with the fact that it's gonna take longer than you think it's gonna take. We have to get comfortable with the fact that not everything is ever going to be exactly in place. And if you can stay focused on the process and putting one foot in front of yourself every single day and asking yourself, how can I get a little bit better today? How can I get a little bit better today? What can I improve upon today that I didn't do yesterday? If you ask yourself that question every single day and you stay committed to that, you'll find yourself winning races you didn't even know you were running. and achieving things that you didn't even know were possible. Stay committed to the process on a daily basis and forget how long it's gonna take. And I tell you what, that's gonna be the secret right there to mastering consistency. All right, guys, so those are 3 points there on how you can improve your personal consistency so that you can ultimately show up for your people better and ultimately lead them better. And so if you're wondering where to start, absolutely the first place to start, get an accountability partner. On whatever it is on where you'd like to go, find somebody who's already there, ask to earn their right to be in their world, to show up to their level, and then show up. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and like the video, subscribe to my channel so that next time I put out content that's gonna improve your leadership skills, you don't miss it. Thank you so much.